Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with fabulous concert programs that you'll never hear in real life. Number 148. This is also number 7 in our George Lloyd Symphony cycle. Interesting ways to couple and listen to the amazingly wonderful symphonies of George Lloyd. Really a terrific composer and someone who should be on the repertoire list of every major orchestra in the universe, at least once in a while, because he deserves it. And his Seventh Symphony is an extraordinary work. One of the tougher ones to program, I think. First of all, because it ends quietly, which is always, unless it's like Mahler's Ninth, a full evening's thing where, the quiet ending somehow, works that way. Or maybe Tchaikovsky's Pathetique, which has its own mishigas that we have to deal with when we program that. I actually think that this is one of Lloyd's very, very greatest works, and it's mildly programmatic, but again, that doesn't really help. It's 50 minutes long. You have to listen to it, and the best way to deal with that is to put it right at the beginning, to just, tear off the bandage and let it rip. Because the piece is actually somewhat tragic. It really is. It has 3 movements. The first movement is light. It has an introduction, first of all, a sort of delicate introduction with a ticking xylophone here and there, and then it becomes rather sprightly, and it's inspired by the myth of Proserpine, who was Plato, the god of death's wife. Eventually. But originally she was a young girl. She was the daughter of Demeter, the earth goddess? I don't know, someone like that. In Greek mythology, please don't fill in the details. I'm just winging it, and I don't need to know. If I really cared, I would have looked it up. Anyway, but she was, someone's daughter, another goddess's daughter, and when she went to the underworld, remember, Demeter got upset, and so when she cries, it's winter, and when she's happy, it's spring, because she gets to visit her daughter. There's a whole myth there. And we don't have to go into that because that has nothing to do with the symphony. The symphony portrays emotional states. And at first it's youth and freshness and vivacity. And then in the central movement, Proserpina as the goddess of death, it's a beautiful, beautiful slow movement, solemn and grave, and it's really quite splendid with beautiful melodic material. And then the finale, there's a big long finale marked agitato, and agitato it is. It really, really is. And it doesn't really have much to do with Proserpina at all, actually. It's more about the human condition and the more desperate aspects of the human condition. And eventually it rises to this just immense climax that calms down into the music with which the symphony opened. So it's a solemn and mysterious and quiet ending. And that makes it rather difficult to program. Emotionally, the range is just huge. It's absolutely huge, but it's not typical. Let's put it that way. I mean, it's really a unique conception. And for that reason, it needs to be considered sort of by itself, but it's only 50 minutes long. It's not a full concert length work. Concert like with intermission type work, the whole sucker. So there's got to be an intermission, and there's got to be a second half. And what do you do in the second half? Well, we'll figure it out. But first, I want to just play you a bit of the finale, the big tune that comes in the finale, which is just gorgeous. Lloyd's always gorgeous. Here it is with George Lloyd conducting the BBC Symphony, or the BBC Philharmonic, okay, whatever it is. It's a BBC something or other, on Lyrita, distributed by Nimbus, who has graciously given me permission to play some samples. So here is a sample from the finale. You know, it never hurts to just continuously emphasize what a gifted melodist Lloyd was, and how so many contemporary composers poo-poo the significance of melody because they don't know how to write any. And the truth is, he was really, really good at it, as I think you probably just heard. Anyway, it's a terrific piece, an absolutely wonderful piece. So what do we do after the intermission? Well, actually, I think I have put together a fun program for you to try at home if you'd like to. After the intermission, we have John Williams, E.T., the Extraterrestrial Suite. It's actually a piece that kind of works well with this, because Lloyd's sonic impact is contemporary. He's a contemporary orchestral musician, and his vision of the orchestra, the way he uses the orchestra, the ensemble, the brass section particularly and whatnot, is very cinematic, in a good sense. There's nothing wrong. I hope we're way past the point in our lives where we worry about something being cinematic in a bad sense. That doesn't mean it's cheap or trashy or anything. It just means it's brilliant and direct and expressive and vibrant. And Williams is a wonderful foil, I think, for that aspect of George Lloyd's work. And then to conclude the program, to get people into the hall, and this is the first time I've mentioned this work in this 148 concert series, Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue. Find a pianist. Mention you're doing Rhapsody in Blue. Everybody's going to come, and they got to sit through Lloyd's Seventh in the first half and everything else until we get to the Rhapsody in Blue. It happens to be an absolutely fabulous way to wrap up a concert, a wonderful opportunity for a young pianist or an old virtuoso to strut their stuff and maybe do a couple encores afterwards. Who knows? I mean, it's just limitless possibilities. And I think it frames Lloyd really, really, really well, because Gershwin is yet another aspect of that contemporary orchestral sound, something that Lloyd certainly knew well. He understood jazz and contemporary music from the 20s and 30s and 40s. That was his formative period. And so it makes a really fulfilling program somehow. It really does. And I hope that you'll give it a listen. Give it a shot yourself at home, but seriously pay attention to Lloyd's Seventh Symphony, because it is a profound piece of music. It really is. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.